And the biggest thing about that again is that when I honored myself with the no, and I was honest with myself about what I didn't want to participate in and what I didn't want to do, all things started to follow. I gained a sense of self-respect for myself because, again, honoring was number one, and all facets of that came beyond it. I honored myself. I loved myself. I respected myself, and I gave more time to those who gave more time to me. On this journey of being selective, it has been the best decision that I've ever made for myself because it has put me into a place where, number one, I prioritize myself and my life and the things that I want to do above all else. Because before then, no prioritization was a part of my journey. I just allowed people to come in and come out and take me through and do whatever they wanted to do, only because, again, I wanted to show up as the helpful friend, or I wanted to show up as a supportive friend. I'm also selective about the places that I go to and the type of events that I am a part of. Many times, there were moments where, and I'll preface this with saying this as well, I am very much an introvert, but when I'm around the right people, we have good conversation. And there were moments where I was invited to certain happenings and events, and it didn't align with who I was. And I knew that going in, but because I was unavailable to say no, I walked into it anyway. And after a while, when you get tired, you just get tired. And I had gotten to that point where I wasn't tired with others. I was tired with me. And I was tired with the notion that I couldn't fiddle back and I couldn't garner up a no. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I feel like many people have done this before. I remember there was a certain situation with a certain person who was pulling from me. And I love this person dearly. But I also understood that telling this person no probably would upset them. And I was standing in front of the mirror. They asked me to participate in something, and I really didn't want to because the type of people that they hung with, I wasn't too privy of. I didn't really like how they were. They were, a set of people who like to talk about people and judge them. And so I didn't want to walk into a space where I felt judged, and also where I was going to kind of be sitting on the sideline because, again, this was their friends. So I stood in the mirror, and I rehearsed this whole thing. I know it's crazy. I rehearsed how I was going to talk to this person, and I did it in different ways. The nice way, then the more aggressive way. Hey, I don't want to go and participate, and then dwindling it down to kind of be on the medium of nice and stern and saying, hey, something came up. What I realized in that moment, face to face with the mirror and seeing the reflection in myself, is number one, the way in which I had to manipulate facets of my face, my voice, and manipulate my mind to even get there, right? Secondly, how I was offering in the latter, where I wanted to stay in the medium of the two, how I was trying to make excuses. One thing I learned about when you say no is that you don't have to always offer some form of, conclusion or expand on why the no was a no. I remember in that space, I said, I am doing too much for wanting to do nothing, and I should be okay with that. And so the text came, and it was a reminder for that event that was coming up. And I could have taken, the easy way out, but I decided I didn't want to. And I was actually going to see that person the following day. And I said, hey, cool, we'll talk about it tomorrow. when we have lunch. And so that was the setup for me, right? That was the moment in which I had to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go through with it. And we had lunch, everything was good, conversation popping, we in good vibes, good grace. And then the conversation comes up about the event that weekend. And I said, hey, I don't feel comfortable going, and I'm sorry that I wasn't upfront and honest with you in the beginning, and as I am saying it, I found that I was again trying to explain myself away, and I remember just taking it a step back and I said, I just don't feel comfortable, period. And the way in which I said it, I felt like I honored myself, but I also realized in that conversation that that friend was upset because in any situation at any given time, I've always been accessible to them. And it was okay, fine. And it was short. And then we ended the lunch. I didn't hear back from that friend for like 2 or 3 weeks. And we picked back up because it was something that they needed to ask me about. And it put me in a space of understanding thoroughly the way some people position themselves in your life. And needless to say, that friendship withered away, but it's fine because we had a great connection and it was a journey and a time and a space due for that season. I said all of that to say that I recognized, number one, in myself, that I was being available for people who weren't absolutely available for me. Number two, because I exercised my voice and I said no, I found out who that person really was. And number three, even though I had consciously, come up with 3 different ways in which I was going to exercise my right to say no, I still in the beginning tried to fiddle back and come up with an excuse or explain the reason why I couldn't show up when I realized what I was doing in that moment and just absolutely said no. On the issue of events and, being asked to be a part of something, you don't always have to say yes. If it doesn't honor the type of person that you are, if it doesn't honor, the space that you keep, if you don't feel comfortable, that no is good enough. Because here's what happens. You're sitting in that space and you become very uncomfortable, and really and truly, I'm one that believes in energy, and certain people's energies and, gatherings and events, they can be a nuisance to you if you don't like the way that they are showing up. And so for me, I've learned that I do not want to be a part of anything, again, that aligns with my journey, that aligns with my space, and just aligns with the type of person that I am. And I'll also go on to personable things. I'm selective about people. I am one that has learned over the years to watch people's actions. I watch how they behave with other people. I watch the kind of conversations that they have. I watch, and listen for their language. And I'm also aware of the way they treat people when things don't go their way. For me, those are big clues that tells me how I should proceed with certain people. I think we honor ourselves more when we are organic and we are honest about the way in which we want things to happen for us and how we create our world, we create our space. We are at the center and we allow things and people and events to come our way. And if we think about it this way, it becomes much, much easier. It's not that in my thought process, I thought that I was getting to a place where I was getting better. I was getting to a place where I was getting better for me, not comparing myself to be better than anyone. Because in that space, I had never sat in a place where I offered up my hand and said no. Because I used to offer up my hand and always say yes. And that was the complete difference and dynamic in my life. And the biggest thing about that, again, is that when I honored myself with a no, And I was honest with myself about what I didn't want to participate in and what I didn't want to do. All things started to follow. I gained a sense of self-respect for myself because, again, honoring was number one, and all facets of that came beyond it. I honored myself. I loved myself. I respected myself, and I gave more time to those who gave more time to me. And additionally, I realized that I always had the power. I always had the notion to do what was best for me, but fear kept me in this box where I felt that if my no sounded too loud, my rejection was going to be louder with other people that I allowed in my space. So I wanted to share that with you about being selective about people and events and just things that just are not aligned with your journey. Don't feel bad if people reject you afterwards. Don't feel bad if you see a separation between those people and things that you have known for so long. It is a place in which you are thriving and going to be so much better. And everybody won't understand. And that's the thing about journeys as well. All of our journeys are individual, and it's not for them to understand. And we have to honor ourselves in every facet, in every space, in all of our knowing to show up authentically us. So when the question becomes, hey, can you come with us to such and such, and you don't feel like you want to, say no. When the moment comes where someone maybe wants to befriend you, but you feel that the energy isn't right, that their reasons for befriending you is not justified by friendship, you have the right to decline and say no. We have to honor this thing. We have to also honor our discernment and our intuition. And we also have to create a space where we put ourselves first. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you came. I'm so happy that we had a dialogue. I am so happy. I'm just so happy. And I want you to leave in the comments some commentary about what you found after being selective with friends and family members and situations that you've walked into. I really want to hear your commentary. I really want to hear some stories. And as always, my email is open. I've had so many good conversations with people just, starting off with just sharing and then goes into deep conversations. I'm always intrigued by the way people think and just themselves in general. So if it's a question or something that you want to hear, hit me up, seasondialogue@gmail.com. And if you are a person who likes to listen more than you like to see, join me on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, a few others. And if you like to, see and listen, continue to, join me on YouTube. And don't forget, subscribe, and comment. And also, turn on that bell so you can get notifications. All right. Peace.